Okay, I want to go to some of the broader numbers because last we talked, we kind of simplified it and we talked about awareness, consideration, and where you're headed, and starting with a really big number and how we're funneling that down. And I wrote down the number 2.5 million people. What does that mean?
So when you start an ad campaign, generally on any social media platform, you're going to define your demographic. So initially, Mainstream's demographic was business owners, operators, marketers, social media managers, all located in, I failed geography, but I think it's called the Four Corners region of the US. So like Colorado, New Mexico,
Near where mainstream is
Nevada.
based, I think is the point.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Near
That's the gist of
Colorado,
it.
Utah's there, Nevada, I don't know. Okay, so that is I mean, it seems like a pretty good size sample. If I said 2.5 million people you're reaching out to, out of that, how many people watched any of your content?
Right. So before we get into that, it's important to know that just because you have 2.5 million people in that demographic doesn't necessarily mean that all 2.5 million of them are going to see it. So, for example, our most recent awareness campaign, of those 2.5 mil, we only reached about 183K in terms of that number because LinkedIn has an algorithm for how it delivers your ads. So if it's working well with a certain demographic, it's going to try and stick within those bounds. To my knowledge, I'm not an algorithm expert.
So 100,000 people did what? They got fed the video or they watched the video? What do we have at that point?
The ad was placed in front of them. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they watched any significant portion of it. And if you actually want to go down the funnel itself, of those 183,000, yes, thousand people, like 44,000 of them actually watched that video. And then further funneling down, of those 44,000, about 2,000 ish, let's round, actually made it to the 50% mark of watching that video. So you kind of have to look at it as you need to cast a wide net, but it needs to be a very specific wide net
Uh-huh.
to give you the best chances.
Can you give me sort of the general strokes of your audience? Who are you trying to target with the initial campaign?
Yeah, so it's small business owners, companies with 500 or less employees, roughly, individuals who work in marketing, brand management, social media, uh, anything related to video, because there's a section for LinkedIn anyway where you can target interests and skills that people have. So, if somebody's interested in video production and they don't work with video, it's still possible for those ads to end up in front of them because they're interested in it.
And so we're down to now 2,000 ish people who spent as much as 50% on these videos. Is that right? And we have yet to send them, we've sent them consideration or not yet?
Yeah, we've sent
Yeah,
them
that's
consideration.
consideration. So they've gotten two layers of videos. They've watched at least two videos that you've created. We're going to send them decision stage stuff. What is an estimated value of any one of these companies? Is there, I'm just trying to run this through some people. Like, it might sound like out of 2.5 million that 2,000 or less isn't that many, but each one of those represents an actual number. And if that number was one or two or three, that's still an actual dollar amount you could attribute to those people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would put that number somewhere between like 5 and 7.5K if they
Okay.
convert. But
Right.
something else that I want to note is while, yes, they can be assigned a number, something else to consider is that if they make it to that mark, they are a self qualifying lead.
Mean they haven't even gotten decision stiff. Is that what you're saying? They
Yeah,
decided to push go at that point and
not necessarily they decided to push go, but they have enough interest in the ad itself that they watched to that 50% or greater marker, which means they're one step closer through the funnel without you having to necessarily do anything other than run the ads. So they're in the process of qualifying themselves through their own actions of watching the video.
it's like magic.
It really
Inbound
is.
marketing strategy. And what is the call to action on your landing page at this point? Is it a
Uh,
call me up, make an appointment, informational call? What do you have there?
It's actually both. So we offer two paths, or as we like to say, two doors. Door number one, you can buy our Video Marketing 101 course for $49. It is focused on DIY learning and kind of understanding how to make video actually work. Or you can get the course totally for free, door number two, if you book a 15-minute consult with Beth.
How was it getting Beth on camera? I noticed that she was sort of talent in most of the videos, right? She's a pretty good talker, self-proclaimed, I believe, right?
Yeah, no, Beth is incredible. She's one of my favorite people to record. I think there's something magical about her presence, especially when she's just being herself because she really knows what she's talking about. She's incredibly passionate and she's just fun.
Right. I feel like the whole campaign was for the audience out there. Seth sent me all the clips to date the other day, and I feel like I know Beth, and that she's not going to talk above me or confuse me with anything that I otherwise didn't know or was afraid to ask. And in fact, I think some of your videos are specific about breaking that down for people, right? So they don't feel intimidated. Okay, so what's the next step in this whole game, right? Because it sounds like you're really getting into the numbers and collecting these things and sort of retooling, but hopefully we're going to convert some people here. So what's the next stage of content creation? I think you have to do some more, and then what do we do with that?
So right now where we are revamping another iteration on all of our ad strategies. We're doing a fresh start for awareness and consideration just to bump those numbers up as much as we can. They didn't perform badly, but I feel like we can do better. So we're doing our next iteration, just also because it's important data to have. You know, if something doesn't work, then we have that observable. We have that there. So right now we are redoing our awareness and consideration campaign. And just so we're clear, we have had 6 conversions this year. So it's not nothing. In fact, I actually did the math on this recently. Comparative to when we started off the year, our conversion rate average per quarter went up something to the tune of like 500%.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's not nothing.
Right. No, that's great. That's what I was saying earlier about like even one conversion means something. So by getting 6, and let's optimize this thing, and maybe you can turn that 6 into 60. This is special.